Before this video starts, this is a huge spoiler warning for DANDADAN episode 7 as well as the events leading up to it. You've been warned.
What? Well, what can I even say? How can I start this video?
DANDADAN is an anime about a guy who loses his penis. Well, more specifically, he gets his penis stolen by a yokai spirit named Turbo Granny, but then once he gets that back, he realizes that both of his balls are gone and he has to get those back. Pretty silly plot, right? So how'd we go from that to me posting this fucking story on Instagram at 2:51 in the morning? I'll tell you how. I watched episode 7. For the first half of the show, its first 6 episodes, DANDADAN had been perfectly enjoyable. Sure, the fanservice in episode 1 was alarming, but the series really tones it down after that, and it becomes a genuinely fun, action-packed, and actually kind of hilarious romp with some great, real-feeling characters with interesting relationships. And then this fucking episode, man. Okay, yeah, I'll stop beating around the bush and get into the real meat of this video. Meat as in, like, substance, by the way, not a stolen penis. So yeah, this video is pretty much gonna be me talking about episode 7 of DANDADAN, summarizing my thoughts on it, and explaining why exactly it was so good. Similarly to the Jujutsu Kaisen video I did earlier in the year, though, we're gonna have to take a quick look at the previous episode to completely understand what's happening here. On their quest to find Okarun's missing testicles, he and Momo encounter Aira Shiratori, a popular girl at school who is a total bitch. She leads Okarun on and bullies him behind his back and even starts a rumor about Momo being the school slut. Her words, not mine.
So in order to get back at that bitch,
whoa,
I started a rumor she's a slut.
After this rumor fails to gain the amount of traction that she hoped it would, Aira asks Momo to meet with her one-on-one in an abandoned warehouse, which seems suspicious, but it's probably fine. Fuck! It's not fine. Aira and 2 of her lackeys capture Momo and tie her up, when all of a sudden, Okarun runs in, screaming about some creepy lady who's putting Aira's life in danger. What creepy lady? Oh, there she is. As Momo and Okarun fight to get this yokai spirit, the acrobatic Silky, to let go of Aira, the battle slowly begins to seem less and less like a silly Turbo Granny-esque fight, and more like a fight against a human with feelings. Nah, that's too crazy, right? But as the fight progresses, the spirit desperately tries to get Aira to call her mommy, saying that when she was a little girl she said it to her before. And when Aira refuses, she moves on to asking Momo to do it instead. Momo characteristically tells her to piss off, and when she does, she begins to cry, asking where her child has gone. Just who exactly is this yokai? Now, we hit the start of episode 7, where we take a brief break from watching the fight to witness possibly one of the coolest sequences of animation from the show yet. There's like this 20-second clip of a woman frantically running through a rainy city at night, done in first person with these like camera shaking effects. I admittedly don't know a whole lot about animation, I've barely done it myself, but what I do know is that this is fucking cool. The woman falls and raises her hand up into the sky, and then we cut to the acrobatic Silky doing the same thing, and oh, this isn't the woman, this is the acrobatic Silky when she was a human. This sets up the main question of the episode. What happened to this woman to make her turn out like this? And unfortunately, the rest of the episode gives us the very depressing answer. Though, the fight continues. Except, what the fuck are these two doing just running away? I actually have an answer to that. They're pulling one of the dopest strategies I've seen in any anime fight. By having the acrobatic Silky chase them around, Momo and Okarun have her get all of her hair stuck to the environment around her, effectively trapping her. And using the situation to their advantage, the pair successfully knock her out. So now there's good news and bad news. The good news is that Aira had one of Okarun's nuts, and the bad news is that she is dead, and the acrobatic Silky is once again conscious. But this time around, she doesn't seem to be posing a threat. She tells our heroes that by transferring some of her aura to Aira, she'll be able to revive her. But this yokai was just trying to attack us, so how do we know that we can trust her? She could very easily eat us, she was doing it before. Holy fuck! Yeah, okay, I think we can trust her. Alright, so after I point out this particular frame for no reason other than I think it goes exceptionally hard, the yokai begins to transfer her aura to Aira. And now, flashback time. Here's where we get into that very depressing answer I mentioned earlier. This woman is the acrobatic Silky prior to, well, being the acrobatic Silky. She returns home after providing a certain service to someone in exchange for money, and is greeted by her cheerful daughter when she gets home. This right here is her life. She spends the day working low-paying, dead-end jobs, secretly stealing money from the cash register in order to provide for her daughter, her only source of joy. She wants to make her happy with home-cooked meals, ballet lessons, pretty dresses, and so on. And although it requires going outside the legal boundaries, stealing money, prostituting herself, it's all worth it to see that lovely smile on her face. Life is rough, but the two manage to scrape by, until one day when it all ends. The woman gets in trouble with the Yakuza, and they break into her house, beat her brutally, and steal her money. And she truly begins to fight back when they take away the most precious thing to her, her little girl. The woman is left lying on the floor of her home, dripping blood and stuck with glass shards. And by the time she runs outside to find her child, in a clip you may remember from before, now colorized, she's gone. This then cuts to an incredibly animated, thumbnail-worthy scene of her dancing. She dances skillfully, masterfully, beautifully. It's mesmerizing. And then you realize that she's dancing towards a ledge that she takes a leap off of, and
Thanks for being the bestest mommy ever.
it's over. A total of 14 words are spoken during this backstory, and only 8 of them are truly needed to understand what's going on. The daughter calls her mommy twice, which explains the desperation to hear the word we saw earlier, and one of the Yakuza members says, "You've been holding out on us." And yet, not a single word is needed to understand what happens here. This woman gets her entire life stolen away. Her money, her possessions, her own daughter, leaving her no choice but to bring an end to it all. It's powerful, it's emotional, and I was so close to crying my fucking eyes out. It's gut-wrenching. The more you think about this woman's life, the sadder it gets, and you don't even want to think about what happened to the daughter, because the more you do, the harder it becomes to forget. At the hands of the Yakuza, she'd be lucky to be dead. We then see the scene of young Ira mistaking the acrobatic Silky for her recently deceased mother, once again calling her mommy, and then she becomes a yokai, and the rest is history. In one final tear-jerking scene, Ira runs up to hug the disintegrating acrobatic Silky, paralleling her real daughter that we saw in the flashback. And then after all of that, I just sat there and sighed. Oh, get the fuck out of there with that cheery-ass ending theme. Actually, never mind, the song still slaps. Just talking about this episode makes me sad. Hell, going back to rewatch it for this video, knowing damn well what was going to happen, I still got fucked up hearing that sound of impact after the woman jumps from the building. And that is incredible. It's not every day you see an episode of an anime that is that fucking good. Hell, even when you expand into the world of TV as a whole, it's still kinda rare. I'm finishing up writing this script about 24 hours after I first watched the episode, and I would pay money to go back and watch it again for the first time. I don't usually make videos about individual episodes of anime. In fact, this is only my second time doing it, and I usually wait until after they finish airing, except that one other time, to make videos about them. But this was one of those episodes where immediately after I finished it, I took a 5 to 10 minute break to sit in silence with my thoughts, and then I immediately started writing a video. There is so much to love about this episode. The whole dancing into suicide segment, the purposefully omitted fate of the daughter after she was taken away to add to the bleakness of the story, fucking everything. Episode 7 of DANDADAN really lets the reality sink in. This isn't some normal shonen action monster of the week series that happens to have quirky and memorable shit and dope animation. It'll willingly hit you in the feels and wrench your goddamn guts. That's pretty much everything I have to say about this episode, but this is definitely not the last time I'll talk about DANDADAN. In fact, the next time I will be exactly a month from now, on December 19th, when I drop the 2024 Anime in Years video. If you're unfamiliar with my channel and haven't seen that series, basically at the end of the year, I make a video talking about all of the anime that dropped during said year that I watched, with DANDADAN obviously being one of them. So, if you want to see that when it comes out and see some other bangers, then be sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and like I said earlier, especially subscribing. I hope to see you in the next one, but until then, bye! Oh, also, I was originally going to use that beautiful song that they used during the flashback in this video, but the only versions of it that exist on YouTube are like really shittily ripped ones that sound like butthole, so I decided against it. But bye!